Part 10. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 91. In the tomb, as Yang Linsong finished reciting the last verse, he opened his eyes again. When his eyes glanced at the red lacquered wooden coffin again, all the evil aura above had dissipated, leaving only the faint dragon aura. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but show a trace of satisfaction on his face. With a wave of his sleeves, all the dragon energy was rolled into his sleeves. After he finished doing this, he noticed that everyone on the side looked at him with shocked eyes. "What's wrong? Why are you looking at Pandeo?" As soon as he said these words, everyone immediately pointed at the green smoke that had not yet dissipated. "Daozang Yang, didn't you see it just now? There was a figure there, which seemed to be the princess lying in the coffin just now." "Yes, I can see clearly. Did you just chant sutras to save her? This is amazing." Hearing what everyone said, Yang Lin couldn't help but smile and shook his head. "You probably saw it wrong. How could something like this happen? It's probably just a coincidence, or the air is refracted by the smoke, similar to a mirage. Besides, I even said that there are no such things in this world." After saying that, Yang Lin ignored everyone's surprised looks and bowed 3 times to the red lacquered wooden coffin in front of him. Then he said to Professor Huang beside him, "Be careful when you excavate this place in the future. If possible, don't open this coffin again. She was pitiful enough when she was alive." Hearing Yang Lin's words, Professor Huang nodded repeatedly. "Of course, we will keep the mausoleum as it is as much as possible and will only carry out protective excavations around the periphery of the mausoleum." After saying this, Professor Huang seemed to have thought of something and quickly added, "Tao Zhongyang, I think you know a lot about ascending and cultivating immortals. If it is convenient, I would like to leave you a contact information so that I can ask you for advice if I encounter similar problems in the future." "No need to provide contact information. Pandeo should be in Jinghai in the next few months. If you need it, Professor Huang, you can just go to the previous Hotel Pandeo." When Yang Lin answered like this, Professor Huang was not angry and just nodded. "That's fine." At this time, Huang Pengju on the side also spoke at the right time. "Daozang Yang, thank you for saving my father just now. I don't know how to express my gratitude to you. I still have some connections in Jinghai. From now on, if you encounter any problems, Taoist priest, feel free to come to me." With that said, he wrote down his number and handed it to Yang Lin. But this time Yang Lin did not refuse. He had a hunch that he and this young and promising Major General would meet again soon. After everyone present exchanged greetings, this archaeological trip came to an end for the time being. The rest has nothing to do with Yang Lin. And he got what he was supposed to get. Half an hour later, he returned to the ground and left the excavation site under the eyes of everyone in the archaeological team. At the same time, what just happened in the mausoleum also caused an uproar on the internet in Dragon Kingdom. Whether it is the archaeological circle or the entertainment circle. For the archaeological circle, the unearthing of a well-preserved royal tomb from the early Han dynasty is undoubtedly of great significance. What's even more rare is that on the day of excavation, the relevant information of the tomb owner had been fully sorted out. From the identity of the tomb owner to the cause of death, things that usually took weeks or even months to fully verify were now known to the world in just a few hours. This is quite explosive when looking at the entire archaeological world. For the entertainment industry, this is even more remarkable, because the person who presided over the excavation of this ancient tomb was a popular reality show artist. The entire process was broadcast live. Before this, no one thought that popular artists could be related to archaeological excavations. This extremely gimmicky topic instantly made headlines in the entertainment sections of major websites. As the protagonist of the incident, Yang Lin naturally didn't know this at the moment. After leaving the excavation site, he went straight back to the hotel, and it was already evening. He originally planned to refine the wisp of dragon energy he had just pocketed into the magic sword behind his back, but at this moment, there was a knock on the hotel door. With a trace of doubt, he raised his hand and the door opened. The next second, 3 heads side by side stretched out from the door. From top to bottom are Boss Yang, Lu Tianxian, and Reba. Seeing the 3 people's heads stacked together, Yang Lin suddenly felt like he couldn't help laughing. He couldn't help but ask. "You are looking for me at this time, are you planning to invite me to have dinner with you?" As soon as these words came out, the 3 of them immediately nodded in unison. "Yes, yes, you have already figured this out. Thanks to the mascot you gave us yesterday, the 3 of us have made a little profit in the past 2 days, so I want to treat you to a meal. You won't refuse us 3 beauties." After hearing Reba's playful words, Yang Lin thought for a while and then nodded. "Okay, it happens to be dinner time now, but what are you going to treat me to?" "Hey, of course it's good to eat. Let's go eat seafood," Lu Tianxian said with a mysterious look. Half an hour later, there was a wild beach somewhere on Qihai Avenue. Looking at the seafood stalls made up of temporary greenhouses in front of him, Yang Lin couldn't help but glance at the 3 bosses next to him. "Is this the place where you eat seafood?" "Yes, we are not as rich as you. How can we eat at a star hotel every meal? I've asked around, and the average price per person for a meal here is only about 150, Reba said with a proud face. "Okay, then let's sit over there." As he spoke, Yang Lin pointed to a seat on the edge of the beach. Boss Yang and the other 3 naturally had no objections to this. It was the dinner rush hour, and the temporarily opened wild beach was full of diners dining. The 4 of them waited for half an hour before the dishes they ordered were delivered one after another. Just when Yang Lin raised his chopsticks, his eyes caught a glimpse of several shaky figures walking towards his direction. Immediately he put down the chopsticks helplessly. Reba, who was sitting opposite him, was about to ask him what was going on when a strong smell of alcohol wafted from behind her. Subconsciously she turned her head away. They saw several drunken men walking towards them with obscene expressions on their faces. After the leader saw Reba's appearance, his eyes suddenly lit up and he said vaguely, "Huh? Don't tell me, this girl really looks like that celebrity." After saying that, he asked another person beside him. "Second brother, what is the name of the celebrity you just mentioned?" "Reba." "Yes, Reba, he, let's go over and ask the sister who looks like a big star to have a few drinks with us. I just like people with celebrity faces." After hearing these words of several people, Boss Yang and the 3 people immediately frowned. At this moment, they suddenly realized that choosing a place far away from the city was not a good choice. They couldn't help but look at Yang Lin, who was sitting opposite them. But Yang Lin had no intention of standing up at this moment. Instead, he calmly broke off 4 leaves from the palm tree on the side. And under the puzzled eyes of Boss Yang and the other 3, they quickly folded the 4 leaves into 4 little people. Before they could figure out what Yang Lin was going to do, Yang Lin picked up a toothpick on the table and stabbed the little man on the far left. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 92. Boss Yang and others obviously did not expect that they would encounter such a thing after finally going out for a good meal. But they couldn't care less about being upset at this moment, because all their attention was attracted by the movements in Yang Lin's hands. At first, they didn't know what Yang Lin was going to do with those little people, until Yang Lin pricked the leftmost little person with a toothpick. The next second, a violent scream came from behind them. "Oh, I'll wipe it." Hearing this voice, the 3 of them quickly turned their heads. Among the 4 people who were preparing to come over to cause trouble, the drunkard on the far left seemed to have stepped on something in the sand. "Not only were the slippers under my feet punctured, but even the solace of my feet had a bloody hole. He rolled on the spot in pain. However, this was not the end. While the man was holding his feet and screaming in pain, the toothpick in Yang Lin's hand pierced the other two straw men. The next second after they finished piercing it, a big coconut fell from the coconut tree above their heads, and smashed the second drunkard on the left to pieces on the spot. The man standing on the far right saw his companions getting into trouble one after another and hurriedly knelt down to check the situation. But just when he squatted down, a colorful sea snake jumped out from the grass on the side and bit him on the buttocks. After this, the drunk man on the far right also woke up, and he still doesn't know what happened just now. He only knew that one of his companions was poisoned, one was injured, and one was knocked unconscious. After the shock, he immediately called 120. Yang Lin on the other side couldn't help but reveal a smile after watching him finish the phone call. He stabbed the last straw man with a toothpick. Boom! When the toothpick landed on the straw man, a beer bottle flew from nowhere and hit the man on the head. At this point, the group of guys who were looking for trouble with their drunkenness were instantly wiped out. At this time, none of the three boss Yangs had reacted. Not to mention them, even the other diners who were dining stopped their dishes and looked at the four people lying on the beach, wailing desperately. Things happened so fast, they had no idea what just happened. Only one young man who was also drunk stood up from his seat with a look of disbelief. Holy crap, I just threw a wine bottle and knocked down four of them? Are they bowlers? As soon as he said this, he glanced around and confirmed that there were no surveillance cameras around him, and then quickly fled the scene under the cover of night. At the same time, the four bosses, who had been stunned just now, all looked at the straw man in Yang Lin's hand. If the first drunk man collapsed could still be explained by coincidence, then after the second and third ones, it could no longer be explained by coincidence. After staring for a long time, Reba suddenly whispered excitedly. Yang Lin, was that what you did just now? Can you teach me? This skill is so cool. As Reba spoke first, Boss Yang and Lu Tianxian also showed expectant looks. In response, Yang Lin just smiled and threw the four straw men to the ground. It's just a win-losing technique, nothing to make a fuss about. And learning this will make you look ugly? Are you sure you still want to learn it? Ah! The three of them obviously did not expect that there would be such side effects. They were so excited a second ago that they immediately shook their heads. That's okay, I don't want to look ugly. I don't want to either. After seeing that the three of them gave up the idea of learning the art of hating victory, Yang Lin immediately picked up the chopsticks again and said, "Eat quickly. If fans or the media find out, you won't be able to eat it." Hearing Yang Lin's words, the three of them nodded. In just half an hour, this so-called seafood feast was over. Then the three of them returned to the hotel together. To their surprise, there were no paparazzi outside the hotel. Amid confusion among Boss Yang and the other three, Yang Lin returned to his room alone. He originally planned to digest the cultivation he had improved during the day, but soon he remembered something else. With a wave of his sleeve, several things appeared on the coffee table in front of him. It was those treasures obtained from Tenguzai during the day. Looking at these treasures, his eyes finally locked on the Gukin named Juxiao Huanpi. In his previous life, when he was practicing in the mountains, in order to pass the time and also to gain enlightenment, he had specialized in music theory. He even created a quite powerful sound attack technique by combining the sound of the piano with magic techniques. At his peak, he stopped a war between two mortal kingdoms with the sound of his piano. I bought this valuable Gukin this time just to regain this skill. Thinking of this, Yang Lin immediately held his breath and concentrated, and unconsciously recalled the scene in his previous life of playing the piano and enlightening Taoism among the sea of clouds on the top of the mountain. His hand unconsciously touched the Gukin. With the infusion of mana, a melodious piano sound instantly sounded in his room. In an instant, an invisible wave spread around the room he was in. At the same time, in a guest room below him, a mother who was out playing with her children was preparing to get angry at her child who refused to take a bath. But when the sound of the piano sounded in her ears, all her anger calmed down instantly. Another middle-aged man who lived next door to her was pouring wine into his mouth with a melancholy look on his face just a second ago. After hearing the sound of the piano, his brows instantly relaxed. A similar situation soon unfolded throughout the hotel. No matter what the mood of the hotel guests was before, after hearing the sound of the piano, their hearts will become like the sea of clouds on the top of the mountain. More than 10 minutes passed, and all the guests in the hotel rooms had entered their dreams. This is true even for some guests who have been troubled by insomnia all year round. And just when the hotel was peaceful, the program team also announced today's revenue. This time the revenue list of artists has finally changed. For the first time, Yang Lin's name did not appear in the top 1, replaced by Boss Yang, whose daily income reached 80,000 yuan. But even so, when Yang Lin's daily harvest was released today, it still shocked a large number of people's attention. Top 7, Yang Lin, daily revenue, negative 30 million. Some netizens who did not watch today's live broadcast thought they had seen it wrong. It wasn't until they watched today's live video that they finally understood what was going on. Immediately, countless netizens also shouted that it was outrageous. The top 6 artists earned less than Yang Lin, who is fraction in a day. They couldn't help but look forward to what kind of miracle Yang Lin would create tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 93. Early the next morning, Yang Lin woke up from trance as usual. What makes him a little strange is that when he wakes up in the morning, he always hears some noises coming from other rooms. Today, the hotel was quiet as if no one was staying. With a trace of doubt, he was just about to walk out of the room to see what was going on, when the next second there was a knock on the door. "Teacher Yang, are you up?" When he opened the door, several people from the program team appeared at the door of his room with energetic faces. "Teacher Yang, I thought you were asleep too. I don't know what happened today. Boss Yang and the other 3 couldn't wake up." "Yes, it's not just them, everyone in the hotel seems to be sleeping now." Listening to the discussion of several people, Yang Lin suddenly showed a hint of understanding. "I was busy practicing the piano yesterday, and I forgot about the impact that the sound of the piano can have on ordinary people like them. But it doesn't seem to be a big problem. Let's just let them have a good night's rest." After muttering to himself for a while, Yang Lin simply adjusted his robes and immediately led the program team out of the hotel. After leaving the hotel, the accompanying director couldn't help but ask, "Teacher Yang, are you going to continue setting up a stall on Lovers Street today?" Upon hearing his question, Yang Lin answered without even thinking, "Go fishing." As soon as these words came out, several members of the program team were stunned on the spot. "Fishing? What kind of fish are you fishing for?" At the same time, the viewers in the live broadcast room also quietly came online. By the time Yang Lin and the program team returned to Lovers Street, the number of people online at the same time in the live broadcast room had reached 800,000. "It's so early today, Yang Lin, I'm not used to it." "Yeah, I just took a look and it seems that only Xiao Yuiyu has started selling breakfast, and no one else seems to be out. By the way, what did Yang Lin plan to do when he got up so early today? Needless to say, I must have calculated my fortune in the morning. Maybe he plans to continue spending money today. I have a hunch that Yang Lin will be back on top today." Benda workers said that it is actually quite satisfying to watch others make money. While everyone was talking in the live broadcast room, Yang Lin went straight to a fishing gear shop. Then under the surprised eyes of everyone, he bought a complete set of fishing tackle and some bait by the way. After many twists and turns, he finally stopped at a landscaped river behind the shops on Lovers Street. At first, the audience thought he was joking when they saw this scene, until he threw the fishhook into the scenic river. No, he is serious. Isn't he going to make money today? This is working time. Have you ever seen any worker fishing during working time? Hey, I'm good at catching fish during working hours. I'm planning to imitate Mr. Zhang. Those who wish to play will take the bait, right? Okay, I get it, today's show is fishing. But landscape rivers like this are usually dug out by excavators, and there are rarely fish in them. You're right, I watched the excavator dig out this river bit by bit, and I just introduced water into it last week. While everyone expressed doubts about Yang Lin's operation, time also passed little by little. Soon the time came to 10 o'clock in the morning. During the 2 hours in between, Yang Lin didn't mention a single stroke. But even so, his expression remained calm and composed. Seeing that the morning was about to pass, Yang Lin couldn't help but reveal a smile for some reason. The fish are coming. After hearing his words, several members of the program team looked at the float on the water. But what puzzled them was that the float above the water didn't even move. Teacher Yang, there are no fish here. Before a staff member on the side could finish speaking, there was a sound of falling into the water from the other side. At first, no one could see clearly what fell into the water. Until they saw a pair of leather shoes surfaced, their expressions changed on the spot. It's a human, someone fell into the water. It was not just the program crew who realized this, but the audience in the live broadcast room also discovered what had just happened through the lens. Someone really fell into the water, it seems to be a man. It's not like he fell into the water. Didn't you notice just now? That person was pushed off the shore by another person. Yes, I saw it too, he was pushed down. I'm sorry, we just witnessed a murder. Are you so naked? Why are you still standing there? Hurry up and save people. Without waiting for the urging of the audience in the live broadcast room, Yang Lin, who had just sat firmly on the shore, threw the fishhook again. But this time the fishhook was firmly hooked on the clothes of the man who fell into the water. Yang Lin only exerted a slight force and the person floating on the water was pulled over by him. After the man arrived at the shore, several members of the program team hurriedly walked over and lifted him up. However, when they saw the appearance of the man who fell into the water, the expressions on their faces suddenly changed. Because no matter how they looked at him, this person seemed a little familiar. I remember, isn't he the one who wanted to buy Mr. Yang's jade carving in the antique street yesterday? Yes, I just said that I seem to have seen it somewhere. It seems to be called Su Changshao. What a coincidence. Teacher Yang just said yesterday that he wouldn't survive this year, and he fell into the water today. Another one was cursed to death by Teacher Yang. This doesn't care about Teacher Yang. Didn't he himself say that his fate is not good? Don't worry yet, this person doesn't seem to be dead yet. Call 120, call 120 quickly. Just when several people were about to rescue Su Changshao, Yang Lin's voice came from the side. No need, he deserves this disaster in his life, and today is destined to be his death day. You are harming him by saving him now. As soon as these words came out, the expressions on everyone's faces changed again. It was obvious that they did not understand what Yang Lin meant. But Yang Lin didn't explain too much to them. He walked straight to Su Changshao and then pointed the sword at several large points on his body. The next second, Su Changshao's remaining breath also dissipated. When there was no breath, his heart also stopped beating. Seeing this scene, everyone in the program team didn't realize anything until someone opened his eyes and saw his completely dilated pupils. He died. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone looked shocked. Everyone in the live broadcast room was in chaos at the moment. They didn't expect that today's live broadcast content would be so exciting. At this time, Yang Lin's voice came again. Call the police. The live broadcast just now should have captured the murderer's appearance. Leave the rest to the police. Besides, the family of the deceased should be here soon. Pandeo is destined to be with him, so let's see him off on his last journey. As soon as he finished speaking, a young man who looked about 27 or 28 years old and looked very similar to Su Changshao hurried over. After seeing Su Changshao lying on the ground, he immediately cried out in pain. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 94. No one in the live broadcast room expected that Yang Lin could catch such a fish right there. He never expected to witness a murder. At this moment, the young man who had just arrived in a hurry also started wailing in pain while holding Su Changshao's body. Brother, what's wrong with you? I'm Chang Gang. Wake up, brother. Hearing the young man's cry and combined with his appearance, it was not difficult for everyone to guess his identity. But what made everyone a little puzzled was that Su Changshao had just had an accident on the front foot, so why did his brother rush over on the back foot? No need to shout, your brother is dead. As Yang Lin's voice came again, the young man who called himself Chang Geng also raised his head, his eyes full of disbelief. How is it possible? My brother and I were only separated for a few minutes. He was fine before and said he would come here to find a Taoist priest to change his life. Are you the Taoist priest? It's really a poor thing. When Yang Lin acknowledged his identity in front of him, the expression in Su Changgen's eyes suddenly changed slightly, seeming annoyed and confused. By the way, our camera just captured the whole process of your elder brother's murder. Do you think we should call the police now? Yang Lin's seemingly casual words made Su Changgen's expression change again. When he looked up, he found everyone in the program crew filming wildly with cameras. That's great. My eldest brother has offended a lot of people with his business in the past years. I don't know who is hurting him this time. But our Su family is considered a prestigious family in Bashu. I don't want to make the matter so big. Let's talk about calling the police later. The most important thing now is to deal with my eldest brother's funeral. As he spoke, a few tears fell from the corners of Su Changgen's eyes again. Unfortunately, as soon as he finished speaking, a team of policemen hurried over. When the leading young police officer saw Yang Lin in the crowd, his eyes suddenly showed surprise. Taoist Yang, why are you here? After hearing his words, Yang Lin realized that he had met an acquaintance again. If he remembered correctly, this young man should be Captain Qin's apprentice. But after what happened last time, his attitude towards Yang Lin had changed 180 degrees. Daozang Yang, what is going on? We just received an alarm and rushed over immediately. The young policeman asked with a puzzled look on his face after checking Su Changshao lying on the ground. And Yang Lin also recounted what just happened again. He was shocked when he heard that the program crew had filmed the whole process of the murderer's murder. That's great. It was only with your help that my master was able to solve major cases repeatedly last time. If nothing else happens, he will be promoted to deputy director in the second half of the year. By the way, this time besides the appearance of the murderer, I wonder if it would be convenient for you, Taoist priest, to help me figure out where the murderer has gone now. Upon hearing this, everyone present, including the police, all looked at Yang Lin expectantly. After all, Yang Lin's name has already spread among the Jinghai city police circles. If it weren't for the bad influence, he would have been invited there long ago. Unlike everyone else, Su Changgen's expression changed after hearing that Yang Lin had helped the police solve several cases. Fortunately, he was always huddled in the corner, so no one noticed his micro-expression. Just as everyone was waiting for Yang Lin's response, Yang Lin shook his head. Today's secrets are cryptic and it is not suitable for divination. I can only vaguely estimate that the murderer is fleeing at the moment. I don't know where he is going. Hearing Yang Lin's answer, everyone present suddenly looked disappointed. The young policeman said with an indifferent expression, "It doesn't matter, we need to check it anyway. But since you witnessed the murder this time, I'd like to trouble you to go to the detachment with me to take notes." As soon as these words came out, everyone in the program team couldn't help but look at Yang Lin. Yang Lin didn't seem surprised by this and agreed immediately. Not long after, the group of them got into the police car, and Su Changgang, the younger brother of the deceased, was also taken back to the police station. Things suddenly developed like this, and the netizens in the live broadcast room were also a little unexpected. "I entered the ancient tomb yesterday and entered the bureau today." 6. Shocked, a top reality show artist was summoned by the police. "Show, it's really different every day. I wonder if Yang Lin expected that he would get into trouble today when he went out in the morning. Why do I feel that things are not simple this time? I just checked and it seems that Su Changshao is the heir to a large group in Bashu, with a fortune of tens of billions. It's hard to say that this time it will involve any major business war drama. My gut tells me there is something wrong with the deceased's brother. Yang Lin is now somewhat like a little boy from an island country. He will die wherever he goes." Just when netizens were talking a lot, the live broadcast signal was cut off at the right time. More than 10 minutes later, Yang Lin and others appeared at the Jinghai City Criminal Investigation Detachment. With their cooperation, the police quickly obtained relevant information about the suspect. It's just a pity that when they uploaded the murderer's appearance to the national database, they found nothing. This means that the murderer either put on some kind of disguise, or is not from the Dragon Kingdom at all. The case reached a deadlock for a while. But the rest of the matter has nothing to do with Yang Lin and others. So they were quickly sent out of the Criminal Investigation Detachment, and Su Changgang came out with them. When Su Changgang saw Yang Lin, his first reaction was to speed up and leave. But before he took 2 steps, Yang Lin suddenly appeared in front of him. "Mr. Su, I wonder where your eldest brother is now." Hearing Yang Lin's question, Su Changgen was stunned for a moment, and then replied with a sad face. "I have arranged for the funeral parlor to take him away. I will take him back to Bashu tomorrow." "Oh? So soon? Don't you need to say goodbye to the body?" "No, dying in a foreign land is a very unlucky thing for us. We need to bring the body back to our hometown for burial as soon as possible." "That's true, but Pandeo and your eldest brother have already met each other. Why don't you let Pandeo go to the funeral parlor with you to see him off for the last time? You won't refuse, right?" As soon as Yang Lin said these words, Su Changgen's expression suddenly changed. He wanted to refuse but didn't know why, so in the end he could only nod and agree. And Yang Lu quickly told everyone about his idea of going to the funeral parlor. When everyone learned that they were going to the funeral parlor next, they didn't know what to say for a moment. They haven't been to any normal places these days. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 95. As everyone left the police station, the live broadcast room was opened again. In an instant, nearly 1 million spectators poured in. It's finally airing again. If it doesn't go on air again, I'll think that Yang Lin is going to be caught by the way. If you are caught, this show should be called Jail Time, brother. Are you already in the car? Where are you going next? Is this matter over here? Will Yang Lin help others find the murderer? Just leave professional matters to professionals. Yang Lin is just an artist. It stands to reason that they are quite unlucky today. They encountered a murder just after leaving work. They should find a place to go to get rid of their bad luck. 2. Just before the audience in the live broadcast room finished speaking, a unique building appeared in the camera. Not only does it look antique, but more importantly, there is a large chimney in the center of the building that is constantly emitting thick smoke. Huh? Where is this place? It looks quite unique. Yes, is it some kind of tourist attraction? I must check it out next time I have a chance to go to Jinghai. Why is there still smoke coming out? What are you burning? Can anyone from Jinghai tell me where this is? Zhe. Isn't this road Huangquan Road? Is the one in front Huangquan Road? This is a very unique name. Uncle Shishi, this road is the road leading to the Jinghai City Funeral Home. Its original name was Huangquan Road. The building in front is the Jinghai City Funeral Home. As for the smoke you said was coming from there, forget it and I won't talk about it. You can experience it yourself. As several locals told the truth, the faces of the viewers in the live broadcast room turned pale with fear. And at this moment, the program team's car turned another corner. Suddenly a gate appeared in front of them. Directly in front of the gate were clearly written several large gilded characters. Jinghai City Funeral Home. No one expected that the program crew would actually come to the funeral parlor. While they were surprised, they couldn't help but have a doubt in their hearts as to what they were doing at the funeral parlor. But this question was quickly answered. After Yang Lin got out of the car, he immediately led Su Changgen to a farewell hall in the funeral home. Su Changshao, who had passed away before, was lying quietly on the farewell stage. After a brief farewell ceremony, he will be pushed to the cremation room. When the audience saw Su Changshao lying on the farewell stage, they finally understood why Yang Lin took them to the funeral parlor. This is too fast, isn't it? If there is nothing in the morning, will it be sparkled in the afternoon? Yeah, it's too sudden. My gut tells me again that there is a conspiracy here. So what if there is a conspiracy? As a direct family member of the deceased, there is nothing we can do if we agree to cremate other people. Yesterday I was a very good person, why am I lying here today? This is life. So is it true that fate cannot be changed? It's better not to ask Yang Lin for fortune telling in the future. Knowing your destiny but having no way to change it is more painful than not knowing. That's right, it's better to live in ignorance for the rest of your life. Just when everyone was filled with emotion, Yang Lin walked straight towards Su Changshao's body. After taking a look, he immediately turned around and walked towards the spiritual platform aside. The next second, under everyone's doubtful gaze, Yang Lin directly placed the spiritual altar next to Su Changshao. Then while burning incense, he picked up a writing brush from the table. As the pen tip moved across the paper, a notification document soon appeared on the paper. At this point, everyone still didn't quite understand what Yang Lin was going to do. Until Yang Lin casually picked up the wooden fish on the table next to him, and while banging the wooden fish in his hand, he began to chant continuously. Today is the longevity of the eldest son of Su in Bashu. He was born on the day of Benjian in the Zhenguo month of Jizi, and he sent a message to Lu Yinzao to testify. I embody the supreme virtue of loving life, extend my compassion, and use the power of Taoism to guide the way, save all living beings, and escape from all hells. As the wooden fish continued to ring, the content of the chant also changed several times. At that time, the suffering God, the Lord of Suffering, filled the realms of the 10 directions. He always used his majestic power to rescue all living beings, and they were freed from the lost path. All living beings were unaware, just like seeing the sun and the moon blindly. Listening to the scriptures chanted by Yang Lin, the atmosphere in the farewell hall instantly became solemn and solemn. At this time, everyone also vaguely knew what Yang Lin was doing. No wonder, he is giving Su Changshao a transcendent rebirth. As expected of being employed with a certificate, the process is very professional. Okay, I discovered a new skill in Yang Lin. He can actually take over religious services. It seems that he took on a lot of work when he was on the mountain. What kind of underworld skill is this? Not only can he save people, but he can also send them away. Taoism is truly fraternal. It felt a bit spooky at first, but after Yang Lin's operation, it suddenly didn't seem so scary anymore. Originally, death is like a lamp going out. What's so scary? What's scary is the living. Rip the deceased. While everyone was immersed in Yang Lin's scriptures, Yang Lin also circled Su Changshao's body 9 times. Then, under the puzzled eyes of everyone, a strand of long hair was cut off from Su Changshao's body and thrown into the paper-burning furnace nearby. Today, the Su family's longevity, body, and death karma will be eliminated, and the 3 calamities of heaven, earth, and people will be experienced. I will give you a new name and eternal life. Su Changsheng. Su Changsheng. Su Changsheng. After calling Su Changshao 3 times in succession, Yang Lin suddenly picked up the Sanking bell on the table and shook it in his ear. As the crisp copper bell rang in the farewell hall, Su Changshao, who was lying motionless on the farewell stage, suddenly sat up in the next second. Such a scene frightened everyone in the hall on the spot. Su Changgen, Su Changgen's younger brother, was so frightened that he sat down on the ground. Just when he looked up at Su Changshao's body, Su Changshao suddenly opened his eyes. In an instant, Su Changgen was so frightened that he screamed. "Brother! Brother, don't blame me. I didn't mean to kill you. It's my mother. It's my mother who asked me to kill you. If you don't die, the Su family's business will have nothing to do with us. If you want revenge, go find the Neon Country killer, my mother, not me." With that said, he hurriedly escaped from the farewell hall. After he left, everyone in the live broadcast room finally reacted. Looking at Su Changshao, who suddenly pretended to be dead, and then looking at Yang Lin with a smile on his face, they felt that they understood something in an instant. Damn it, it's a scam, it's a scam. What a fake corpse, it was Yang Lin who saved him. Save this shit, haven't you figured it out yet? He wasn't dead in the first place. Not dead? So what's this whole thing about? Just as everyone was talking in the live broadcast room, Su Changshao, who had just committed suicide, suddenly looked at Yang Lin aside. The following conversation between the two made everyone fully understand what had just happened. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 96. In the farewell hall, as Su Changshao slowly woke up, everyone's eyes were focused on him. But he himself seemed to have lost his soul at the moment, with a look of confusion on his face. After a while, his eyes gradually became focused, and he immediately noticed Yang Lin beside him. "Daozang Yang, am I in the underworld?" Hearing Su Changshao's slightly confused words, Yang Lin just smiled slightly. "Where in the world does the underworld come from, but you did die just now. Now you are no longer Su Changshao." "Have I died once?" In confusion, Su Changshao seemed to remember everything that had happened before. A few seconds later, a hint of understanding appeared on his face. "I understand, Taoist priest. From this moment on, I am no longer Su Changsheng, but Su Changsheng." As soon as he finished speaking, he walked down from the farewell stage, and then bowed to Yang Lin respectfully. "Thank you, Taoist priest, for helping me resolve the calamity of death and give me a new life. If possible, I would like to become a Taoist master and treat you as a teacher from now on." Hearing Su Changshao's words, Yang Lin was not surprised, but nodded. "You and I are indeed destined to be masters and disciples, but you are destined to have no fate with Tao in this life, so I can only accept you as a registered disciple." After saying that, he put his hand directly into his sleeve. When he took it out again, there were 2 more things in his hand. A jade charm and a handwritten booklet. These two things should be regarded as your apprenticeship ceremony. You have come back from the dead this time. If nothing else happens, you should have no problem living to be over 100 years old. However, your life foundation is damaged, and you will inevitably suffer from several serious illnesses in the future. This booklet contains a volume of longevity scriptures handwritten by Pandeo. You can recite it every morning and evening, and you can prepare a rejuvenation elixir by yourself. After saying that, he handed these two things into Su Changshen's hands. Su Changshen was extremely excited after receiving these two things. As an outside disciple of Taoism, he knew very well how valuable these two things were. Especially the jade talisman, just holding it in his hand made him feel physically and mentally comfortable and his thoughts clear. In his excitement, he simply knelt down in front of Yang Lin. "Disciple, thank you, Master." And when this scene fell into the eyes of other people, they were surprised and envious at the same time. What the hell is going on? It's okay for this person to be alive all of a sudden. Why is he still worshipping his guru? I also don't understand something. Is there someone who understands it who can explain it to me? He just changed his name and became a disciple again. Is this how his fate is resolved? You don't even understand this. You guys are too stupid. It's actually very simple. You can probably understand that Yang Lin got stuck in a bug and first made him fake death once, and then made him come back to life with a new identity. It turns out that Su Changshen did die in the destined death disaster, and now you can regard Su Changshen as the second life he lived. So I boldly speculate that the documents and scriptures written by Yang Lin previously were to deceive God and create the illusion that Su Changshao was dead. I heard that Peng Xiu did this and lived to be 800 years old. This is probably a matter of putting yourself to death and living later. There is actually a saying among the people that many elderly people like to organize a funeral for themselves in advance, hoping to use this method to live longer. Yang Lin's operation is really wonderful. He can actually change his fate against the will of heaven. If I'm going to die soon in the future, can I do the same thing? What are you thinking about? Didn't you see that Yang Lin has done so many processes? How can you deceive the whole world without any skills? While everyone was talking about it, Su Changshao also completed the apprenticeship ceremony. Teacher, the apprenticeship ceremony this time is really too simple. After the disciple has taken care of the mundane matters, we will hold a formal apprenticeship ceremony. As he spoke, he seemed to think of something again, and hurriedly touched his body, and finally took out a black and gold card from the inner pocket of his jacket, and then handed the card twins to Yang Lin with a respectful look. Teacher, your daily practice must also require a lot of expenses. This card is a supplementary card for disciples. It has no limit. Please be sure to accept it. As soon as Su Changshao said these words, the eyes of everyone around him instantly focused on the bank card in his hand. They didn't expect that Su Changshao was so down to earth. Good boy, Yang Lin has accepted a rich second-generation apprentice. What is the second generation of rich people? I just checked. They are the first generation of rich people. They are the Su group that they worked hard by themselves. How much money do you think is in this card? If I read it correctly, this card should be a private bank card of Long Bank. The minimum standard for applying for a card is a daily financial asset of more than 10 million, so the card must contain at least several hundred million. For a big boss with assets of nearly 100 billion, several hundred million is a small amount. What's more important is that even if Yang Lin doesn't use this card, the various additional benefits every year are beyond imagination. But for such a rich man, the value of a life cannot be measured by money. It is only normal for him to do this. The question is, will Yang Lin accept it? While the audience in the live broadcast room was keen to explore the identity of the bank card, Yang Lin put the bank card handed over by Su Changshao into his sleeve in front of everyone. Master, I accept your wishes, and then you can just do what you want to do. I understand, teacher. After saying goodbye to Yang Lin, Su Changshao's face suddenly turned cold. The next second he strode towards the outside of the funeral home. From his menacing back and Su Chang'an's previous behavior after seeing his resurrection, everyone could probably guess what he wanted to do. Seeing Su Changshao's back disappear, a staff member of the funeral home also walked in at this time. After seeing the empty farewell stage, he was stunned for a moment, and then looked at Yang Lin and others beside him with some doubts. "Excuse me, where is the deceased now?" After hearing his question, everyone thought for a moment and pointed outside. "He went out." "Out?" "Yes." At this moment, the program team members are not aware of the problem in their words. Until there were bursts of frightened shouts outside. Looking at the staff on the side whose faces were pale with fright, they quickly explained. "What we mean is that he is alive again and does not need to be burned." "What? He's not dead at all?" "Yes, please call the next number quickly." "This number is invalid." "Why are you talking so much? Hurry up and leave. People are going to come here again later." With the confused expression on the funeral parlor's face, several people pulled Yang Lin and quickly fled the funeral parlor. But just when they were about to get on the bus, Yang Lin suddenly stopped them. "Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes." Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 97. Yang Lin suddenly stopped him, and several members of the program team were a little confused. "What's wrong, Teacher Yang?" "Nothing, I'm a little hungry and want to find a place to have a meal." Hearing Yang Lin's answer, several people were stunned for an instant. The next second they couldn't help but look around. But the people around were either funeral home staff or family members of the deceased who were crying heartbrokenly. Then there are the dead who were pulled out of the car and covered with white cloth. "I'm afraid it's not crazy to eat here." Just when a few people had strange expressions on their faces, a group of men in black suits walked out of a farewell hall in an awkward manner. Seeing this group of men in suits, everyone in the funeral home yard immediately moved aside spontaneously. Looking at the group of men in suits, he looked like he was seeing an evil star. In fact, not only them, but also everyone in the program team couldn't help feeling frightened when they saw this funeral procession composed of dozens of big men wearing black suits and sunglasses. No matter how you look at it, this group of people doesn't look like serious people, but more like a large social organization. Especially when he saw the strong man walking in front of the group of people with a serious face and an urn in his hand. What do these people do? They can't be the local underworld in Jinghai, right? You're kidding, what era is this? It's still underworld. Anyway, he looks like he can't be offended. Let's move aside quickly so as not to cause trouble for others. Teacher Yang, do you think so? Where is Mr. Yang? In the shocked eyes of several members of the program team, Yang Lin suddenly strode towards the group of people. Before he could get closer, more than 10 men in black suits stood out from the crowd. Seeing this scene, everyone in the program team suddenly broke into a cold sweat. However, Yang Lin himself looked at the bearded man holding the urn with a calm face when facing this situation. "Immeasurable Heavenly Lord, I am a layman. Your yin-tang is dark and dull. I am afraid that you will be troubled by disaster in the near future." Hearing Yang Lin's words, the bearded man was stunned for a moment, then raised his brows. When a man in a suit standing next to him saw this, he immediately took out a $100 bill from his pocket and prepared to hand it to Yang Lin. "Little Taoist priest, my old father's funeral is going on today. I don't want to cause trouble. If you are wise, you can go as far as you want now. If you don't know what's interesting." As he spoke, the bearded man prepared to have Yang Lin carried away. But what happened next was beyond his expectation. I saw two big men in suits holding Yang Lin's arms, one on the left and one on the right, trying to carry him to the roadside. However, when they exerted their strength, they discovered that no matter how hard they exerted their strength, Yang Lin did not move at all, as if he had driven a screw into the ground. After trying several positions in a row, cold sweat broke out on the foreheads of the two men in suits. "Brother Chen, there is something wrong with this little Taoist priest. We can't move him." Upon hearing this, the face of the bearded man who was just about to leave couldn't help but change instantly. At the same time, he looked at Yang Lin again with a smile on his face. "Two more people go." As soon as he finished speaking, two more men in suits joined the ranks of carrying Yang Lin. But the final result still hasn't changed at all. It was only then that the bearded man realized something. "Taoist priest, I, Luo Chen, am ignorant of Mount Tai. Could it be that I have offended you before?" Hearing Luo Chen's words, Yang Lin shook his head. "That's not true, but Pandeo said before that something bad is going to happen to you, layman, recently. Taoist priest, please stop making fun of me. My old father is gone. Isn't this a disaster? This is something that can be seen at a glance." Luo Chen said with a wry smile. "The disaster that Pandeo is talking about does not refer to this, but to other things. Let's see. Pandeo happens to be a little hungry. Seeing that you are like this, you must be preparing to entertain guests. How about Pandeo go and have a meal?" As soon as Yang Lin said this, Luo Chen didn't react for a moment. After being stunned for a long time, he nodded. "Taoist master, it's no problem if you're willing to show your appreciation. I just happened to have a banquet at the hotel next door. By the way, Pandeo also has a few friends. It's okay, we'll be fine together." Half an hour later, when the program crew was led into a garden-style luxury hotel by a group of big men in black suits, they were more or less confused. At this moment, they finally understood what Yang Lin meant by eating rice. The audience in the live broadcast room also exploded at this moment. "I'm afraid Yang Lin is a social cow. He's doing nothing here, and he brought a group of people to get a meal. Sure enough, these people are destined not to starve if they follow Yang Lin. Why do I feel that the people who eat here are not good people? Yes, everyone is in suits and ties. They are either meeting with agencies or underworld. It's so stressful to sit and eat with a group of people like this. If it were me, I wouldn't even dare to move my chopsticks." Amidst the discussion in the live broadcast room, Yang Lin and several members of the program team were also led to a position at the edge of the banquet hall. At the beginning, a few people were a little cautious. But as exquisite dishes were served one after another, the few people who had been hungry for a long time could no longer care so much. "Pick up your chopsticks and start eating." While eating, he kept muttering in a low voice. "The food in this hotel is good, it should be no less than 5 stars. Indeed, I ate king crab when I dined for the first time. There's also a blue dragon. This roasted suckling pig is good. Teacher Yang, do you want to try it? Hey, there are 10 people at other tables, but there are only 7 of us at our table. I'm happy. There are also 2 bottles of Mao Tai on one table, tisk tisk tisk, but it's a pity that you can't drink it during working hours. You guys should restrain yourself." When the scene of several members of the program team eating at a table appeared in front of the audience in the live broadcast room, the audience did not know what to say for a while. "Damn, I want to sit on the table too." For a banquet of this size, the casuals would have to pay 2,000, but luckily they didn't pay a penny. The other tables haven't even used their chopsticks yet. They've almost finished eating. By the way, did Yang Lin deceive that person earlier? If he can't tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 later, will he be beaten? I just checked and found out that the boss just now was really a gangster in the past. Most of the entire Jinghai entertainment industry belongs to him, but he was cleared up later. I'm kidding, you think the name of Luo Chen, the underground emperor of Jinghai, is for nothing. In other words, Yang Lin took the initiative to find him, and it should be more than just a meal. Just when the audience was talking a lot, a group of fat monks wearing cassocks suddenly walked out of the passage next to the banquet hall. Not long after, Sanskrit chants rang out in the banquet hall, and Luo Chen actually held a dharma gathering here. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 98. On one side were a group of club members wearing black suits, sitting upright, and on the other side were a group of bald monks wearing cassocks holding a dharma ceremony. Only Yang Lin was immersed in cooking at the table. From time to time, he glanced over at the program crew, but he didn't feel the slightest bit embarrassed. Perhaps they thought it was Luo Chen who specially invited him to take photos. "Teacher Yang, I'm full, why don't we withdraw?" The cameraman asked Yang Lin in a questioning tone while putting the whole piece of huasi on the table into his pocket. Several other members of the program team also focused their attention on Yang Lin. At this moment Yang Lin is their backbone. However, at this moment, Yang Lin turned his attention to the group of great monks who were doing something. "Mr. Luo, through our efforts, your father has gone to the Western Paradise. You can rest assured." In front of the morning hall, the leading monk wearing a bright red cassock said to Luo Chen solemnly. Upon hearing his words, Luo Chen immediately clasped his hands and responded respectfully. "Master Lao Baoxiang is here. I've already asked someone to pay for the expenses of this ceremony. Also, I heard that Master, you like to collect Buddha statues. I just recently bought a medicine master glazed Buddha made of pure gold. Mr. Luo, you don't need to be so polite. In the eyes of the poor monk, there is no difference between pure gold casting and clay sculpture. The important thing is to see whether it has Buddhist connections. By the way, Mr. Luo, the auspicious point you asked the poor monk to find for your father has been found. Today is just the right day for burial." Before the great monk finished speaking, a voice of doubt came from the side. "Oh, Master, do you still know Feng Shui?" As soon as these words came out, everyone in the hall immediately looked over. Luo Chen was no exception. After he saw it was Yang Lin, his expression changed slightly. But the monk named Baoxiang already had anger in his eyes. "Mr. Luo, don't you trust this poor monk?" After hearing what monk Baoxiang said, Luo Chen immediately explained. "Master Baoxiang misunderstood. This Taoist priest is a strange person I met outside. Please come back for a casual meal." After speaking, he turned to Yang Lin and explained. "Taoist master, this is the abbot of Baomao Zen Temple in Baiyun Mountain, Jinghai. Master Baoxiang is the most famous person in our Jinghai Zen section. He was invited here specifically to take care of my father's funeral affairs." But obviously his explanation had no effect. "Little Taoist priest, which mountain are you from? What did you mean by that sentence just now?" Baoxiang asked in a bad tone. But Yang Lin's attitude towards him was still calm and indifferent. "It's nothing. I'm just curious. There doesn't seem to be any classics recording the art of Feng Shui in Buddhism. I don't know where you learned it, Master." As soon as these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. Who is this little Taoist priest? He dares to talk to Master Baoxiang like this. The Buddhist and Taoist families don't deal with each other in the first place. It's normal. A newborn calf is not afraid of tigers. He probably doesn't know how King Yun Temple was driven out of Jinghai in the first place. That's right, now all the large and small rituals in Jinghai, whether they are ordinary projects or official projects, are all contracted by Baomao Zen Temple. If you offend Baoxiang, this little Taoist priest may not get any good results. But what he said actually makes some sense. Taoism has a special Feng Shui concept. Buddhism has always been dismissive of these things. No way, this business really makes money. Boss Luo heard that he spent nearly 10 million this time. Let me tell you, Buddhism and Taoism are both unreliable. Whatever you believe in them is just a lie. There is nothing I can do. Mr. Luo is very good at what he does when he is young. The older he gets, the more afraid he becomes. After listening to everyone's discussion and looking at Luo Chen who looked suspicious next to him, Baoxiang's face suddenly became uneasy. Immediately he angrily yelled at Yang Lin. My Buddhist sect is all-encompassing, and my feng shui is only good, so what's the problem? But you, a little Taoist priest, at such a young age, went to my father's mourning hall and made loud noises, disturbing Mr. Luo's ascension to heaven. Before he could finish his words, Yang Lin retorted with disdain. Great monk, you are a Buddhist. Then recite the Heart Sutra completely to the poor Taoist. Baoxiang never expected that Yang Lin would ask such a question, and a trace of panic appeared on his face. However, he is also someone who has seen big scenes, and he quickly stabilized his position. Why do you ask the poor monk to carry it? The poor monk will carry it. Besides, Buddhist scriptures are not text, so how can you recite them casually? Seeing that Baoxiang didn't intend to carry it, Yang Lin immediately changed the question. If you don't want to memorize the scriptures, then, great monk, tell me what the Tripitaka is and what the 6 perfections are. This. Upon hearing this question, monk Baoxiang's forehead began to sweat. But Yang Lin asked again. If you don't know this, then tell me what the 5 precepts of Buddhism are. You don't know this? What are the 8 sufferings and the Eightfold Path? Ah! At this moment, Baoxiang was completely panicked, just like a primary school student who couldn't answer the teacher's question. When this state of his appeared in front of Yang Lin couldn't help but shake his head. If you don't know, great monk, then the poor Taoist can teach you. The so-called Tripitaka refers to the Sutra, Vinaya, and commentaries. The 6 perfections refer to generosity, precepts, patience, diligence, meditation, and prajna. The 5 rings are the precepts of not killing, not stealing, not committing adultery, not lying, and not drinking alcohol. Monk, you are full of alcohol. I'm afraid you didn't drink less at noon. As for the 8 sufferings, the Eightfold Path, and the Poor Path, I will also help you popularize them. The 8 sufferings refer to the suffering of birth, the suffering of old age, the suffering of illness, the suffering of death, the suffering of separation from love, the suffering of resentment and hatred, the suffering of not being able to seek what you want, and the suffering of the 5 yin beings burning. The Eightfold Path refers to right view, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. As Yang Lin gave the answers to the questions one by one, not only the monk Baoxiang was dumbfounded, but also everyone present and the audience in the live broadcast room were stunned. Holy crap, what's going on? Isn't Yang Lin a Taoist? Why does he know so much about Buddhism? I finally figured it out. The fat guy next to me is a fake monk. He is the real monk. What do you know? This is called knowing oneself and the enemy and being victorious in every battle. It is normal for a Taoist to understand a little common sense of Buddhism. I knew that he studied a lot of things, but I didn't expect that he actually learned such a lot of things. He also read Buddhist scriptures. Why did he split one day into 2 days? What normal idol reads Buddhist scriptures every day? The key is that he knows more than other monks. This is too much. What did you notice? That monk is a fake monk at first glance. Who is so fat after being a vegetarian? I suspect he developed fatty liver due to drinking alcohol. Then you are underestimating him. I have been to the BMW Zen temple before. There are 5 or 6 luxury cars in it. I heard that they all belong to him. Amidst everyone's discussion, Luo Chen's face gradually became ugly. And at this moment, Baoxiang finally recovered. He glanced at Yang Lin, and then said with a fierce look. "Little Taoist priest, just wait for me. Jinghai is not as easy to mess with as you think. Since you want to take over this ritual, I'll leave it to you." After saying that, he led a group of disciples and left the morning hall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 99. As Baoxiang left the scene angrily, the atmosphere became awkward. Especially Luo Chen, as a well-known figure in Jinghai, was deceived by a fake monk. The key is that it is not easy for him to have an attack. After all, this kind of thing is always a fight or a fight. After he calmed down, his eyes couldn't help but look at Yang Lin again. "Taoist Master, I'm really sorry for what happened just now. I didn't expect Master Baoxiang to be a charlatan. But our old man's ritual." Before Luo Chen finished speaking, Yang Lin answered. "Since Pandeo has encountered this matter, he will naturally not ignore it. Pandeo will take over your father's religious affairs. Then I have to ask you, Taoist priest. However, Taoist priest, you are only one person. How can you handle the rituals?" Hearing Luo Chen's doubts, Yang Lin immediately looked at the program team. It was a bit baffling for several members of the program team to suddenly be looked at by Yang Lin like this. It wasn't until half an hour later that they were changed into Taoist robes by Yang Lin. Looking at the Taoist robes on their bodies and all the utensils on hand, the 6 members of the program team were immediately dumbfounded. When they heard Yang Lin asking them for help, they thought Yang Lin was joking. But they didn't expect that Yang Lin actually meant it. "Teacher Yang, we are neither Taoist priests nor do we know how to practice." "Yeah, what if we mess up? I'm a little nervous." As soon as they finished speaking, Yang Lin said with an indifferent expression. "It doesn't matter. Our Taoist sect is not like Buddhism. There are not so many restrictions. As long as you have the Tao in your heart, you are still a member of the Taoist sect even if you practice at home. As long as you follow the process and content that Pandeo just said, when you need to chant sutras, chant loudly along with Pandeo." "What if I forget the lyrics?" a staff member whispered. Yang Lin did not answer his question directly, but just smiled mysteriously. 5 minutes later, with Yang Lin's loud announcement, a special Taoist ceremony began. Compared with the previous one at the funeral home, this time it seemed more solemn. When the ceremony began, the originally noisy banquet hall suddenly became quiet, with only Yang Lin's endlessly mysterious voice coming from time to time. During this process, the staff of the program team also completed each process under the guidance of Yang Lin. What surprised everyone was that there were no mistakes among the 6 amateur players. Even when he followed Yang Lin's song and recited the scriptures, every word was correct. He is also very good at playing various musical instruments, and the audience in the live broadcast room was incredulous. "I'm convinced. I'm completely convinced. These people have been with Yang Lin for a long time. Why are they so proficient in business? It doesn't look like they were acting. They must have practiced it in advance. You must be sick, who would practice this in advance? Yeah, I thought the meal just now was just a meal, but now it's better, it's become a work meal. It's really outrageous. These people followed Yang Lin to the grave yesterday, and today they followed Yang Lin to pick up an innocent thing. Sure enough, Yang Lin's benefits are not so easy to get. It's so funny, they can be considered a group debut. Don't tell me, their ceremony does seem to be much more comfortable than that of the group of monks just now. When I die, I will also invite a group of Taoist priests to come over. No, I won't be able to see it if I die. I have to have one for myself while I'm still alive." The scriptures they recited really gave people a feeling of inner peace and calmed down their emotions. especially with Yang Lin's unique voice. Yeah, I didn't expect that Yang Lin, with such a good voice, wouldn't go out to sing, but come to preside over private affairs. If it's not a bit unlucky, I really want to record it to help me sleep at night. What's so unlucky about this? I used to listen to the Great Compassion mantra while sleeping, but then I stopped listening to it because I wanted to be a VIP. Amid the discussion in the live broadcast room, the ceremony hosted by Yang Lin was also carried out in an orderly manner. Send out straight talismans, set up the altar, chant sutras, invite teachers, use spiritual guidance, turn off the lights, call the dead to bathe, attend rituals and curse food, set up food sacrifices to pass on precepts, and set up altars. After completing more than 10 procedures, 3 or 4 hours have passed. And everyone at the scene sat there for 3 or 4 hours, and no one made a sound. As a direct relative, Luo Chen always knelt in front of the soul with a pious expression. The ceremony was not completed until Yang Lin shouted, "Mr. Luo, your father has passed away and will be buried next." After hearing Yang Lin's words, Luo Chen, who was kneeling beside him, reacted. "Thank you, Taoist priest. I seem to have seen my old man just now, and now I feel much better. Taoist priest, you are really capable." After saying that, he seemed to have thought of something again, and quickly asked someone to bring him a leather bag. When the bag was opened, the red cash inside instantly appeared in front of everyone in the program team. "Taoist master, this is my little thought. It's not much, only 1 million. Please accept it." With that said, he respectfully handed the bag to Yang Lin with both hands. At this moment, a program staff member whispered inexplicably, "It's really not much." Hearing his words, Yang Lin immediately glared at him. Luo Chen seemed to have heard these words, and he couldn't help but show a little embarrassment on his face. "Taoist priest, please don't dislike it. This million is just a small thought from me. I will thank you very much later. By the way, Taoist master, you said before that I was in great danger. I don't know what you meant." As soon as these words came out, Yang Lin immediately understood what he meant. Obviously he had just been deceived by Baoxiang, and now this was a test. After thinking for a moment, he got straight to the point. "Has Mr. Luo offended anyone recently?" Luo Chen didn't react when he first heard Yang Lin's question. He thought carefully for a moment before nodding. "It's not like I offended anyone, it's just some minor business friction." "That's right, Pandeo sees that you are not only shameless, but also surrounded by evil spirits. I'm afraid you have been cursed. Looking at this ruthless method, it doesn't look like the style of our dragon kingdom, but more like the trick from Nanyang. Mr. Luo, you should have been to Nanyang in the past week." As soon as Yang Lin finished saying this, Luo Chen's expression suddenly changed. Obviously, what Yang Lin just said was right. However, this was not the end. Under Luo Chen's fearful eyes, Yang Lin continued. "Not only were you beheaded, but your ancestral graves were also tampered with, and your wealth was leaked. Within 7 days, I'm afraid all your property will fall into the hands of outsiders. Within 10 days, there is a high probability that you will die on the street with no one to collect your body." As soon as Yang Lin said these words, everyone in the live broadcast room exploded. Come on, Yang Lin started cursing people again. The small theater is online and the live broadcast room is locked. Brothers, we have some interesting and exciting content again. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 100. If Yang Lin had made such alarmist remarks 2 days ago, the audience in the live broadcast room would have thought that he was just trying to scare people for money. But after his predictions came true one after another, the audience no longer dared to despise him. Even Luo Chen, who had not had much contact with Yang Lin, turned extremely ugly after hearing his remarks and was speechless for a long time. After a while, he asked Yang Lin anxiously. Taoist priest, are you trying to scare me? Is it really that serious? Is there really such a thing as lowering one's head in the world? Hearing his question, everyone present also looked over. Obviously they also have doubts about this issue. After all, they had only heard of this term in movies before. Facing the curious eyes of everyone, Yang Lin immediately pulled Luo Chen's right hand over, then pointed to an inconspicuous mark on the palm of his right hand and said, "The head-lowering technique certainly exists, but it's not as magical as the one in the movie. According to Pandeo's speculation, they probably use some drugs or some dirty things to affect a person's mind and fortune. Mr. Luo, the scar on your palm must have appeared suddenly." Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's question, Luo Chen nodded immediately. "It appeared after I went to Malaysia to discuss business. It was just a small hole." However, as soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin grabbed a handful of incense ashes from the incense burner nearby. Then, under everyone's puzzled gaze, he inexplicably smeared the incense ash all over Luo Chen's right arm, leaving only the shallow scar from before. After he finished all this, his index finger traced along the blood vessels of Luo Chen's right arm from top to bottom. When this scene appeared in front of everyone's eyes, everyone looked a little confused. Until they saw a long, squirming line appearing on Luo Chen's raised blood vessels. Holy shit, what is that thing? The blood vessels come alive. How is it possible? Something must have entered his blood vessels. Parasite. Before everyone present could guess the reason, the unknown life form that kept appearing was forced to the scar on Luo Chen's palm. The next second, in front of everyone's horrified eyes, a white worm more than 10 centimeters long emerged from the scar. With just one glance, everyone felt their scalps go numb. Only when Yang Lin saw the worm showing its head, he pinched it up with his fingers and threw it into the ashes beside it. After 3 or 2 clicks, it stopped moving. This. Luo Chen's face was filled with disbelief as he looked at the terrifying worm pulled out of his body. He couldn't help but look at Yang Lin again. Taoist priest, what on earth is this? And the same goes for everyone around. Under everyone's expectant gazes, Yang Lin finally began to explain. Actually, it's nothing. This kind of bug was called a soul-eating bug in ancient times, but that was just because the ancients didn't have scientific common sense. Actually, the scientific name of this insect is Mansoni tapeworm, also called sparganum. Once it enters the human body, it will cause a variety of complications. If it accidentally enters the brain, it will damage your nervous system and cause you to have hallucinations. This one seems to have been specially cultivated. It has extremely strong vitality and latent ability. Even if you go to the hospital, you may not be able to detect it. After listening to Yang Lin's explanation, everyone's eyes widened instantly. Damn it, after working on it for a long time, the head-lowering master is also following a scientific route. Why does Yang Lin even know about parasitic diseases? Doesn't Taoism study traditional Chinese medicine? Tisk, what age is this? We can't allow other Taoist sects to keep pace with the times. I thought he was going to do something to break someone else's surrender, but it's all done now. The deepest drops tend to be the most unpretentious drops. I guess Mr. Luo can just eat a meal of raw meat sashimi. I won't dare to eat raw meat anymore. Just when everyone was talking about it, Luo Chen quickly thanked him and said, "Thank you, Taoist priest, otherwise I wouldn't even know how I died. These damn Nanyang monkeys, in order to prevent me from entering the Nanyang market, used such despicable means to harm me." After saying that, he seemed to remember something again and quickly asked another question. "Taoist priest, there should be nothing else on me." But Yang Lin's next answer made him break out in a cold sweat. "Of course there is, and there are more than one. If Pandeo guessed correctly, you should also have a Buddhist amulet on you. Hearing Yang Lin's words, Luo Chen seemed to have thought of something, and quickly started groping in his arms. Not long after, a Buddha amulet glowing with green light appeared in his hand. Taoist priest, is there something wrong with this amulet? Of course there is. To be precise, the Buddha amulet in your hand is not a Buddha amulet, but a yin amulet. What is engraved on it is not a Buddha image, but a ghost image. In addition, the Buddha amulet itself has been soaked in corpse oil. Before Yang Lin could finish his words, Luo Chen threw away the Buddhist amulet in his hand. After the amulet was thrown out, he immediately said viciously, "Mada, Song Chai, you are a bastard who tricked me. I will definitely find someone to kill you." After saying that, he seemed to see Yang Lin beside him, and his expression suddenly softened. "Taoist priest, are there any more?" Besides more, Luo Chen was going crazy at this moment. The audience in the live broadcast room couldn't help but burst into an uproar when they saw this scene. Mr. Luo is also 6. He is covered with debuffs. It is a miracle that he is still alive today. It means he has a hard life. If it were an ordinary person, he would probably be gone by now. Who says it's not the case? They say bad guys have a hard life. It seems to be true at all. I heard that a big boss of this level has his own evil spirit, and ordinary small tricks may not be able to do anything about him. When he met Yang Lin, he was really lucky in his life. The sorcery of Nanyang is simply not worth mentioning in front of the authentic Taoist sect of our Dragon Kingdom. In other words, Yang Lin is helping his father do things and helping him break the surrender. This must be a different price. That is to say, if he doesn't add some money, then he is too ignorant. As soon as the audience in the live broadcast room finished speaking, Luo Chen greeted 2 more younger brothers. 5 minutes later, the 2 boys came over carrying 2 big bags with difficult expressions. Looking at these 2 bulging bags, everyone already had some guesses. However, when the 2 boys opened the zipper in front of everyone and revealed bundles of cash inside, everyone still couldn't help being a little dumbfounded. "Taoist priest, thanks to you this time. If it weren't for you, I, Luo Chen, would probably be dead soon. I'm a rough guy, and I don't know how to thank the Taoist master for his great kindness. It just so happens that the 20 million gift money received today is here, so it should be regarded as payment for your hard work, the Taoist master." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone in the room focused their attention on the 4 big bags.